Good morning, Evergreen Rotary. All right, we're gonna. I think I saw my old man walking in here. Send him up here to this front table if you see him. Anyway, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do.
Is the truth, is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better prejudice? Will be beneficial to all concerned.
And is it fun?
Okay, so welcome to our guests, Adrian. Can you come on up? Is she still signing people in? Oh, here we go. Right up here.
Hey, good morning. Thank you all for being here. And we're excited. We have Scott Papa and also his wife Laura. So welcome. And we have our speaker, Tammy Tomlinson. Welcome. And I missed Amy, his significant other. And we have Marianne's husband, Pat. There you are. And we're excited that our new member, Erin Vance, is here already. So welcome. And we have Laura's hubby, Greg, who's here, Lloyd Romberg. And thank you for coming. And we have Ed Steinbrecher, and I bet I know what from Conifer Rotary, and I know what you're going to talk about. So welcome. And we have Jim Brook from Summit County Rotary, who's excited to be here. So we better behave today. And Dave Hughes, who's part of the fire department. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. Now we've got our Sergeant at Arms. I want to introduce Fizz. Fizz, come on up. He's going to do a change of the guard for the Sergeant at Arms before tonight.
You know, because I need both hands. Do I need to use the mic? Oh, my goodness. Okay. No, I'm good. I'll make it happen. You know, I first wanted to say that what we're going to do right now is to honor our past president, Erica Sprinkle, and also our new president, incoming president, Scott. But I also just wanted to very quickly just pay tribute to all of those leaders who are part of the changing of the guard, whether it's youth services, community, international. We thank you for your last year of service and also what you're going to do for us in the coming year. You know, I wanted you to know when I talk about Erica Sprinkle, I come from a sports background. I was a play-by-play broadcaster for 47 years. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what quality coaches are like. I mean, I had the opportunity to work with people like John Wooden and Lute Olson and Bill Walsh, et cetera. And some of the qualities of a really good coach are, do they communicate well? Do they tell you what you need? Do they ensure you understand, provide specific, constructive feedback? Do they have empathy and emotional maturity? Do they see the individual first and also how can that individual help the team. I always thought a good coach has accountability and trust. Accountability breeds success and builds trust. And when a coach holds you to your goals, it shows they share your vision and are committed to your development. A good coach is also adaptable. They adapt their approach so it's not one size fits all. They allow the individual to flourish. And what they do is they bring us all together. And Erica Sprinkle has all of those qualities and so much more. She was a fabulous coach this last year, inspiring monk members, also having to facilitate the financial responsibilities of our Rotary program, also our membership goals and growth, and financial operations to align with Rotary International's overall vision of Unite for Good. And Uniting for Good is what Erica Sprinkle is all about. All right, now to talk more about Erica. Who would have believed that the little girl from Greenville, Ohio, who had such a difficult time smiling, would climb to the ranks of Rotary stardom? Even her siblings were doomed with this dreadful affliction of awkward smiles. But Erica overcame that malady to conquer the world, president of the University of Cincinnati's drinking club. And their motto was 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, floor. Erica got her MBA at the University of Colorado and her doctorate at Graceland University, where she and a friend started an Elvis sideburn company that failed so miserably, investors chased her out of the town, and she was wanted later in 7 states. Erica spent years in hiding, but eventually she dug herself out of the abyss with her mantra, if at first you succeed, then skydiving is not for you. Now to the serious side. Erica has only been in our Evergreen community for 4.5 years, but it seems as if she's been here forever. She's everywhere at Evergreen music events, nonprofit meetings, Rotary events, whether it's our town or at district conferences. Erica follows our motto, service above self, and this year's Unite for Good to the very letter. She wore so many leadership hats this past year, and that includes running her own business, which is Ramblin' Dough, which has been very successful pizza business, to also being named president of the Evergreen Chamber of Commerce, to continuing also as our president of our Rotary. She was at Recycle Day and Rotary Cleanup, Evergreen Rotary. If there is an event that promotes our beautiful community, well, Erica is there. And I said this at the meeting last week, as Margaret Mead once said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Erica Sprinkle is certainly one of those thoughtful, committed citizens. How about a hand for Erica Sprinkle? Our mighty coach. Boy, I'm getting you choked up again. You know what? And both Scott and I have talked about this. We have huge shoes to fill. Scott replacing Erica and me replacing Jen Vollmer. And I told Jen I'm going to start as a private, as the sergeant of arms. And if I do a good job and she sees me do that, she'll promote me to corporal. And eventually my goal is to make staff sergeant. Well, now we focus on our incoming president, Scott White. Now, Scott was born in a military family. It's not known Scott's origin because his father claimed to have found these 2 aliens in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico, sparking decades of extraterrestrial conspiracy theories. His mother actually tried to return Scott and twin brother Eric to the Army commissary store, but were refused. So the family was placed in the witness protection program under the names of La Cucaracha. Now, Scott and Eric dressed incognito, and this is a true story, so they could buy firecrackers in Wyoming, bring them back to Colorado to the neighborhood pyromaniacs and sell them. And they made some pretty good money. But the white lads made their greatest contributions to Colorado in music. First in the boy band duo Hulamundo, then by extorting neighbors who gave them money if they'd just shut up. No, Eric and Scott took their talents to Heritage High School in Littleton, to the marching band, that's Scott on sax and Eric on clarinet. This, of course, made Scott the heartthrob of every Heritage High poet. And success naturally followed, with Scott and Eric becoming Eagle Scouts and then graduating magna cum extremely red from Heritage High, then both getting engineering degrees from the prestigious Colorado School of Mines. The Whites are legacies, with Grandpa, Dad, Uncle, Scott, and Eric and their kids graduate of mines. But that is also true when it comes to Scott's family and Rotary. The Whites are a fourth generation Rotarians. Great grandpa, grandfather, dad, and now Scott, living the theme, service above self. The Whites have been involved with the Rotary Exchange Program for years, hosting students from all over the world and also placing Evergreen students in loving international families. Scott's beautiful family, wife Laura, with son Kevin and daughter Heather, are all part of our Colorado legacy. And as I said earlier, part of a Rotary legacy that goes back almost 100 years. And you know, I've only been part of Rotary for 3 years. My wife Stacy and I came here in 2023, but we had heard that the Evergreen Rotary was special. And what I found out in those 3 years, yes, we are. And a lot of it has to do with our leadership. And one of my favorite pictures this year was this one, when Kimber Perkins, where are you, Kimbra? When you said, hey, would all these past presidents stand up? And we had like 18 past presidents stand up who were just at the breakfast meeting. And that's what it takes. The beginning of my story was about good coaching. We've had good coaching. That's what makes our Rotary so special and so powerful. I ended the last meeting about Erica and about Scott and about what we do with one of my favorite quotes, because I was looking for a quote from like an inspirational leader, maybe a king or a poet or a saint. But the quote I came up with was from an actress and comedian on Saturday Night Live. Her name is Amy Poehler. I'm a big fan. But she said this, she said, find a group of people who challenge and inspire you, spend a lot of time with them, and it will change your life. And that's what I find in our Evergreen Rotary community. And a lot of it has to do with our leadership. Erica, thank you again. And Scott, thank you and welcome to your new presidency role. And just to hand things over, I have your new badges. So come on up here. Erica, you get the new badge of past president. So next time, and Scott, you are our future president for the next calendar year.
Or anything else? Oh.
I'm not sure which one.
That's why you need to clap.
Yeah. Right.
So thank you very much. And I'll turn it back over to Scott. Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think we got a good new sergeant at arms. Thank you, Fizz. Okay, so you got a new banner here in front of us, and this is our theme this year from our Rotary International president. And it is the theme of creating lasting impact. And if you think about what that means, I just want you to read what he has here. What his saying is: Rotary has the power to transform lives, including our own, As you plan your projects, welcome new members, and serve your community, I ask you to thoughtfully consider the impact you are making and how it will last. Together, we can create lasting impact that endures across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Thank you for all that you do and for all that we will accomplish together. Yinka Baba Lola. And there's his picture there. Anyway, that's our new Rotary International president. And slide, let's see, how do I do this? Next one. That. So that brings up our legacy projects. How are we going to create lasting impact in Evergreen community? And we have decided as a group that we're going to do 2 legacy projects this year. And one of them is the Music and Imagination Park. And the other one is the new seats that we're going to put in at Ovation West. And we've got to raise $75,000 so that we can create lasting impact in our community. And so far, we have raised 55 of the 75. So that means we need another $20,000. I think we have Kurt online and he asked me to make this. Is he there? Well, he asked me to make this announcement. But if everyone could think about what your portion of that contribution could be, that would be wonderful. Hmm? Yes, please do it in the microphone. Yes.
So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Betsy Hayes, and I did step up to be the treasurer of the Evergreen Rotary Foundation. And I am now accepting checks. I know how to deposit. I know how to send you a receipt and a thank you note. So please, anytime you see me and you want to contribute to the legacy project, just hand me a check. I can handle it. Thanks.
Okay, Fizz, you have an announcement. Next, we have announcements, morning announcements. I have one real quick first. October 31st, we're going to have the dedication of, I'm sorry. Oh, it's July. It says here in October. July 31st, coming right up. We're going to dedicate the bench in Marchdale Park in memory of Annette. So if any of you could make that. Okay. Okay. And then the rest of you come on up and line up for announcements.
We're going to try something new only because I noticed we've had some fabulous speakers, but we've kind of gone too long on the morning announcements, which means the speaker will start a little bit later, and there was no time for questions. And some of the speakers were so dynamic, and we all had questions we wanted to ask. So I thought what we're going to do is we're going to do a challenge. We're going to try and keep every single morning announcement to just 1 minute. And with who, where, what, when, how, all of those little details. And what we're going to do is I'll be the sergeant of arms for the private arms currently. And if you get to 10 seconds left, I will hold up a yellow card, much like they do in the World Cup. So you're getting a warning. Now, if you go over 60 seconds, you get the red card. And the red card means you're in violation, and that means that you will have to wear this yellow boa for the rest of the meeting. And I'm sure if there are more than one violators, well, Kimmer will come up with another boa or 6. All right, so we're to prove that it can be done. Let me get back on my phone here. To prove that it can be done, I'm going to do the first morning announcement. So I'm going to start it. And here goes. Put September 26th on your calendar for the Mountain Stories Literary Festival, presented by the Center for the Arts Evergreen and also Jefferson County Library Foundation. This used to be the Rocky Mountain Literary Festival, but we changed to Mountain Stories to promote and celebrate Colorado readers, writers, and curious minds through shared stories and meaningful connections. Again, the festival will be September 25th and 26th here at the Center for the Arts from 8:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock. By the way, we're also looking for sponsors for this great event. 42.86 seconds. Thank you. No red card for me. Now, The challenge is on.
Oh, Ed Steinbrecher from Conifer. I have two announcements. Do I get 2 minutes? Anyway, peach sales, Palisade peaches from Noble. We have some of the only peaches because north of Palisade, they lost a lot of their crop. You can go online, rotaryconifer.org, order your peaches. The important thing for this morning, if you let me know, I will bring them on August 1st to the parking lot at Mount Evans Home Health and Hospice. I'll bring them over between 9 and 11. So please, if you want to give me a check this morning, I've got some of these. On your table is a little card with a QR code you can order. So please do that. I'm dressed for our Conifer Fest. Guess what? I'm doing parking again. We're setting up this morning. The event is tomorrow. Please come over and see us at Conifer, 5 different bands and lots of good beer. And we're going to have a heck of a party in Conifer. Thank you very much. And I plug for your program because I'm familiar with it. Happy to have you here.
1 minute, 9 seconds. We'll give them just a yellow card. For a neighbor.
Thank you. I have ordered my peaches and I'm going to be at Conifer Fest tomorrow. So
Just let me know if you want them.
I am standing up for Patrice Henning, who is out of town. She is getting ready to go back over to Pena and be at one of the wash projects we're involved in for the Kick It for Wash, which is a soccer tournament where they bring in 4,000 young people to participate in the soccer tournament, but more importantly, while they're there, they learn about wash. They learn about water and clean water. They learn about sanitation and hygiene. It's a fantastic event. She's made a couple announcements about it, but she asked me to remind you that they would desperately like soccer balls, soccer cleats, and those can be used and in good condition, or donations for feminine hygiene products. That's better if it's cash because she can purchase them over there. So if anybody has anything, please bring them next week for Patrice.
Good morning, everybody. Chris Kazian. Just want to remind everyone or tell you on July 28th at 6 p.m. at the fire station, we're holding a kind of open house public forum to talk about our sales tax initiative. Very important for our community. We'd love to see some folks out there to learn about what will be on your ballot, most likely if the board approves it in November. But being engaged, being informed, and understanding why and how we're trying to move the organization at your fire department forward is important to each and every one of us. So hopefully we'll see you on the 28th, and if not, we're speaking here at a meeting in August. So thank you very much.
Hey, quick thank you to Russell and Alan for being so quick and funny. Ricky Bonner. That's pretty great.
Can I get those extra 28 seconds? Good morning. My name is Gary Ervik, and I'm here to just remind everybody that the 5th annual Christian Ervik Balance Scholarship pickleball event will be held at Mount Vernon Country Club this August 22nd. It's Saturday. Most of you probably have received an email or seen it on Facebook, but please sign up to play. Please feel free to donate, feel free to sponsor. We're hopeful of raising almost $30,000 this year. That's been close to what we've earned in the last couple of years, and we'll give out $15,000 worth of scholarships at least this year. So please join us on August 22nd. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I have 2 announcements, and they're actually both on the card on your table. Save the dates coming up. First is going to be Rowdy Rotarians. For those of you that don't know, Rowdy Rotarians is it's a get together that we have in lieu of a Friday meeting. So we'll be meeting on Wednesday, August 5th. We'll be dark on August 7th. So you'll want to come. Rowdy Rotarians will be music at the park. So it'll be at Buchanan Park, 5 o'clock. Bring your own food, bring your own alcohol. We'll have some stuff as well. Come, it's super fun. The second thing is our Rotary holiday party. Mark your calendar. It is booked. We'll be at Tuesday, December 8th at 5 o'clock. And we're going to be meeting at Christie's Event Center in Genesee this year. So super excited. Mark your calendar. Grab one of these on your way out so you don't forget. Thanks.
This is pretty self-explanatory. You've seen this before. This is pennies for polio. So if you have any extra pennies or change you want to drop off, that can be dropped off at Evergreen National Bank. Thanks to them, they're celebrating 45 years here in the community. And also thanks to El Dorado Spring Water for donating the jugs. But if you've got spare change you want to get rid of in your car after the meeting, I'll be here after the meeting. You can just drop them off right here. Oh, with any kind of luck, we have the National Honor Society with the high school, maybe participating when they get started back in May.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good morning, I'm Miss Bannings, and if I don't make eye contact, it's because I've been watching that second hand on that clock. My Wooden Hawk Foundation is having their third annual Mountain Music Fest, August 16th at Buchanan Park from 12 to 9 o'clock. We have Kevin Bacon, the actor, and his brother Michael Bacon, an Emmy award-winning musician with the Bacon Brothers. And we also have Miani, who is an Evergreen-based act that's really cool. They'll be opening up for the Bacon Brothers. But my main point of standing here is to let you know that the $30 admission tickets are going up on July 15th. So if you want to get your tickets at a cut rate, now's the time to buy them. You can just go to woodenhawkfoundation.org or mountainmusicfest.org. Thank you.
Cool. Now the challenge.
Kevin Bacon's a lot of fun as well. And there's only 2 degrees of separation, right? Not 6 on that. Hey, you guys, if you want to visit Ryla, you can do so. You can go up. Are you going up there on Sunday? Nick, stand up. Nick's it's going to be a senior counselor here this year. Way to go. You're going up on Sunday, so you can visit on a Tuesday or a Wednesday and basically get in there about 10 o'clock or so. You can stay till about 3, 4. You can't stay for them. They will feed you lunch. And Fitzy and I are going up on Wednesday, but we're going up like at 5:30 morning because I got to go climb a mountain with the kids that morning. But you can come up. It's at YMCA Camp in the Rockies there, and 2, 1. Okay, and yes. So, but let me know if you want to come, and we'll make sure that they know you're coming. And it's a great time. Just walk around and you can see all the different people. Good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'd like to introduce Ted Ning. He's going to come up and introduce our speaker.
Our speaker today is Danny Tomlinson, who is a longtime resident. He went to high school in Idaho Springs. He went to School of Mines, went to UNC. Obviously, he's a Vietnam veteran. He's going to talk to us today about a unique project that he supports, he does by support.
Thank you, Ted, and thank you so much. I'm gonna start by getting out of the way of the screen. I'm Danny Tomlinson. As Ted said, I grew up in Idaho Springs and went away to the college in the Navy and my career. And about 15 years ago, Amy and I decided we're done living in Denver, and we moved back to the house that I grew up in, which was actually the original Catholic church in Idaho Springs, built in 1884. And right at the foot of Virginia Canyon Road, the Oh My God Road. And in any event, it's an honor to be here. It's so great to see so many friends. I think Greg Romberg and I have been friends maybe the longest. Amy and I were at Greg and Lori's wedding. But yeah, and Betsy, it's great to be here this morning. As Ted said, I'm a longtime Mason and 59 years, also Scottish Rite, also a Shriner, York Rite, the whole thing. And one of the things that we as Masons always have to do without fail is to introduce our ladies. And if we don't, we have to buy her a piece of jewelry or a new dress or something like that in hopes of getting back on the good side. So I want to introduce my wonderful wife, Amy. Well, I think many of you know her from pickleball over at, Idaho Springs or Mount Vernon or whatever. In any event, I served in the US Navy, went to boot camp, applied for officer candidate school there and was, accepted and, was commissioned in September of 1969. I went to damage control school in Treasure Island, California, which is kind of in San Francisco Bay, right under the bridge, the Oakland Bay Bridge. And then went to the USS Kilauea. You all know the Kilauea, that's the volcano that's still erupting in Hawaii. They name ammunition ships after volcanoes. An ammunition supply ship is a big general store that carries bombs and bullets. If they have any kind of an accident, they make a big hole in the water and there are no survivors. I was the damage control officer on the Kilauea during my 3 years as an officer, as also the chief engineer, officer of the deck underway, that sort of thing. And we had 2 deployments to Vietnam during the Vietnam War, one for almost a year, just a couple weeks short of a year. And the second one for 15 months. We were due to come home on March 29th of 1972, which coincidentally is the day that the Vietnam War ended. I was the officer of the deck underway. The captain and I were standing on the starboard bridge wing of the Kilauea. He said, boy, it's going to be good to go home. We've been here for 9 months off the coast of Vietnam, transferring bombs and artillery shells to the destroyers and cruisers. And the comm officer came out and said, Captain, you need to read this. And it was the telex. It said, the president and the Congress have declared victory. The Vietnam War is over. Kilauea remain on station until further notice out until March 29th of 72. We came home in September. So I'm a proud US Navy veteran. There never was a question in my mind at the time about whether or not I would serve. The draft was still in, of course, but in any event, veterans and the sacrifices that veterans make for our country, for us to enjoy the freedoms and liberties, the life that we're able to enjoy here in America is extremely important to me. And when I decided to retire 15 years ago, I was a lobbyist at the state legislature for over 40 years, almost 45 years. That's how I knew Greg. And in any event, one of my interests that I wanted to pursue in retirement was Masonic kinds of things, as well as veteran kinds of things. And so I was talking with Ed, I think, from Conifer, and I don't see him, he may have left to go do his thing, but for instance, I helped coordinate Section S down at the Fort Logan Cemetery, Flag for Fallen Vets on Memorial Day weekend. We placed up the Masons, their wives and families, ladies, friends. We placed about 20,000 flags at the graves of veterans buried at Fort Logan. We also last Saturday, the 4th of July, Independence Day, Amy and I, 15th year, led the Georgetown Independence Day parade. She and her ladies were in their Victorian dresses with big floppy hats. I was in my own Navy surplus chief. We passed out more than 3,000 flags to every single person in the parade. Veterans, and excuse me, I get choked up really easy talking about things that are so near and dear to me. But in any event, about 5 years ago, I got a call out of the blue. I had been selected to go on the Rocky Mountain Honor Flight. I didn't know a lot about it other than that they took veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments and memorials dedicated to veterans. I went. and this was almost 5 years ago, I was so impressed with the organization, with the people involved with the organization, with everything, that I immediately said, I want to be a volunteer, I want to help, I want to do whatever I can. And a couple of years ago, I was selected or elected to the board of the Rocky Mountain Honor Flight. I'm one of the 13 members of the board. And I've been on 15 subsequent honor flights. The Rocky Mountain Honor Flight is one of about 130 honor flight hubs throughout the country. Some of the hubs take a one-day trip and they charter an airplane, take 150 veterans as well as a number of guardians, wheelchairs to help the veterans. And they have a really long one-day trip to Washington, D.C. A lot of it is in the bus driving by. There's a World War II memorial. Did you all see it? So those of you on the left side of the bus, look over there. There's John Paul Jones' statue. We don't do that. We do a 3-day trip. We leave on Thursday morning from DIA. We have TSA normally has their honor guard just down. TSA screening is not like this body cavity search that they do. If you've got a driver's license or an ID card with the same name as your boarding pass, you're good to go. They've got a sniffer dog, of course, but we're talking 70, 80, 90-year-old veterans. We take men and women veterans, both, almost every flight. We have at least 4 or 5 lady veterans. The September flight will have, I think, almost 25 women veterans. We're trying to make that all female veterans for the September flight. We leave on Thursday, fly to BWI, Baltimore, Washington International. We are met with the fire department at the airport with their water cannons on both sides of the airplane. In our May flight, we were on the Spirit of America on its very first flight as an airline. They had flown it from Seattle down to Denver the day before, and just the pilots. And we were on that one. That's the one that's the tail number is 1776. It was emotional. Anyway, there's a ground crew at BWI that meets us, Fred, and he's the town crier in his colonial costume, his tricorn hat, ringing his bell. We hold all the veterans in the jetway. We're the first ones on the plane, the last ones off. We come out of the jetway into the airport as a group. And the whole airport is standing, clapping, cheering. Little kids running up saying, thank you for your service. People hugging it's and Fred with his bell. Hear ye, heroes coming through. It's an emotional time. We have a dinner at the hotel. We always stay at the DoubleTree at BWI. And then on Friday morning, we start off by going over to the World War II Memorial. And the pictures that you're going to see here are just candid photos that I've taken over the 15 trips that I have made. And it kind of gives you an idea of what people see. I told Ted and Scott earlier, I'm not going to do this like Grandma and Grandpa used to do when they went to Yellowstone. And then, well, listen to Grandpa feeding the bear. This is Drew Dix, who lives in Pueblo. That's a Medal of Honor around his collar. In any event, we go to the World War II Memorial. We go from there down to the Navy Museum and Memorial. We normally have lunch in the Chief's Mess at the Navy Museum. And for those of you who are in the Navy, how many veterans do we have here? And how many Navy veterans? Thank you for your service, first of all. And Pat and I know about the Navy chiefs who run the Navy. And the goat locker is the chief's quarters. And even the captain of the ship takes off his cover, his hat, puts it under his arm, knocks on the door, and requests permission to enter the goat locker where the chief petty officers on the ship are, that take quarters, their men's quarters. We have lunch at the chief's mess at the museum. We go from there over to the World War I Memorial, and then we park the bus generally at about the Lincoln Memorial, with the Korean War Memorial on one side and the Vietnam Wall on the other side. The Korean War Memorial, you're gonna see some pictures flash up, a little bit larger than life-size bronze statues. There's 19 of them, 19 men, some of the radio, some of the machine guns, some of the rifle. It's haunting, especially at night. The Vietnam Wall, of course, just based on the demographics of our veterans that are on the other flights, the Vietnam Wall is extremely emotional. Sometimes one of the lead guardians, and I serve as a guardian, we always have 30 veterans and about either 24 or 25 guardians to push wheelchairs to help assist. We schlep bags, we do all the things to make the trip as comfortable and as pleasant for the veterans as we can. And one of the lead guardians graduated from the Naval Academy in 1970, was commissioned into the Marine Corps. And he and I kind of take the lead at the Vietnam Wall with the directory. We'll have names of friends or relatives that were lost in the Vietnam War. We can direct them to the correct panel in line. We give them a little sheet of paper with a graphite thing so they can do the rubbing of the name. And I've had experiences where a good friend who just died back in January, he stood there at the head of the wall for 15 minutes crying. And he said, "Dude, don't let go of me." Walked down there, there were 6 names. He said, I'm number 7. I should have died that day. That was my squad. Had Scott, had an older lady, and obviously her daughter, about 80-year-old and a 60-year-old, come up just as Mike and I were leaving the wall one day. And the older lady was crying. The younger lady asked me if I could help them find a name on the panel. We located it, took him down there, they did the rubbing, stood there for a few minutes. He came back up and they were both crying. He never said a word to me, just grabbed me and hugged me for almost an uncomfortably long time, like 3 or 4 minutes. Finally, the younger woman then leaned back and she said, "I never got to meet my dad." That's a lonesome sailor, and then that's a statue on the right. In any event, that's all on Friday. We sometimes, if we, depending on the time we have available, we will go to the FDR Memorial and the MLK Memorial. Go back to the hotel, have a nice dinner that night, and kind of recognize everybody, lots of photo ops. On Saturday morning, we are the very first bus in line to enter Arlington National Cemetery. We get there about 8 o'clock, 8:15, between 8 and 8:15. And we are there for the 9 o'clock, 0900, changing in the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And the past several years, we have been honored to be able to request and receive designation as placing a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier after the tomb guard change. And last May, May 10th of 2025, I was the lead guardian of Homeland Detail, the place of need at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Again, that's an experience that you can't buy, you can't replicate, you'll never forget. It is so meaningful. And I think all these shots are at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. You probably have seen videos where the tomb guard will be saying something like, stand down, I request that you be quiet. That's the truth. When the tomb guard and the sergeant of the guard for the changing of the guard, anytime they stop, the tomb guard, for instance, stops, makes 21 steps across, stops, waits 21 seconds, does the right face, slaps his heels together, waits 21 seconds, then 21 steps, stops and repeats it over there. If there is an honor flight present for that tomb guard change, they will, the sergeant of the guard or the tomb guard will always scuff their shoe and drag their shoe as a silence. And so if you go to Arlington, that's a little insider's knowledge that you'll take with you. It's worth just what you paid for it. But it is kind of special. We go from Arlington and we always drive around in Arlington a little bit and see some of the more famous graves that are there. Audie Murphy, the most decorated American soldier in World War II, his grave is just about 50 yards from the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier right at the end of the. We always go there and lots of photographic pictures there. Go from there over to the very famous Marine Corps Iwo Jima Memorial. That shows the 6 Marines raising the flag of Mount Suribachi. And that's always a big event for photos and whatever. We go from there up to the Air Force Memorial, which are the 3 spires that look like contrails going up into the sky. And from there, we have lunch at the Sheraton Pentagon City, overlooks the Pentagon. We can kind of see where the airplane hit on 9/11. The granite has begun to kind of blend in now, so it's not quite as visible. We then go out to the airport, fly back to Denver, and again, we hold all of everybody there in the jetway and then exit the airplane as a group. And when we get to the arrival hall, there's always between 300 and 400 people there. You saw the Elgibelt Pipe Band. The Elgibelt Pipe Band is part of the Masonic, the Shriners. The Shriners Hospital probably is what you're most familiar with. But they have been at the welcome home party every single flight for 18 years. And the Vietnam vets are there, the Battling Betties, who are a group of ladies that dress up kind of like World War II USO girls, the young Marines, lots of family and friends. There's always 300 or 400. And our veterans that we take on the flights, World War II vets are obviously our highest priority because they're probably 100 years old. And if they're able to travel, they go right to the top of the list. Korean War right behind them because, again, they're well into their 90s. And then Vietnam War vets are selected by the date that they applied for the flight. It's the Vietnam vets, especially as we're walking through the airport, and everyone is standing, clapping, and cheering, saying, "Welcome home." They'll say, "Well, it wasn't like this 50 years ago." And it truly wasn't. I know I was spit on, cussed at, yelled at, called a baby killer, insulted. Amy, I was told somebody, Amy saw and a bumper sticker on a pickup over at Home Depot there by El Rancho a couple of years ago that said, I'm a Vietnam vet. I was a vet before it was cool. In any event, we do, as I said, the 3-day trips, they're absolutely zero cost to the veterans. The guardians, we pay our own way. It's an honor to go with these men and women. The sacrifices that they have made, as well as their families. And I've been asked, how do these 30 veterans who, it's like me walking in here, oh yeah, I know a couple of you people, but I don't know everybody. And if we see each other next week, I'll remember your face, but I won't. But it's kind of the same thing with the vets on the honor flight, except they bond so quickly. People have asked me, how does that bonding take place and happen so quickly? Think about it. Every one of those veterans, man or woman, everyone left home as a young person. They left their family, their comfort zone, their loved ones, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their husband or wife, their mom and dad, and they went off and served their country. And probably at some point, maybe multiple times during that service, whether it was a 2-year draft length of service or a 30-year career, they faced death. They thought, this is the day I'm checking out. They all have that common experience. We give a lot of grief to each other about, there really are only 2 military branches. I was talking with somebody about that. It's God, I think. And that's the Army and the Navy. We're the military branches of the, what are called the forces, because the Air Force is more like a country club. And the Marines, and the Marines are actually a cult. That's true. So we give each other a lot of grief, but we all share that common bond. And if you're not a vet and try to pick on any of us, you better stand by, because you've got real trouble from all of us. In any event, that's kind of the story of our trips. We are totally 100% funded by donations, contributions, the generosity of our supporters. Our major fundraising activity is a Channel 9 telethon. We did it in April, and actually we're able to raise over $220,000. We worked there from 5 in the morning till 7 at night. That's our major fundraiser. Each trip costs around $75,000. Exclusive, and that does not include what the guardians are paying. So that'll fund about 3 trips this year. We have a lot of a man that owns the Ace Hardware, owns about Ace Hardware stores in northern Colorado. He's a huge supporter. The guy that owns Denver Concrete Asphalt, where CDOT takes all their road base that they're throwing away. He writes us a big check. The All American Stair Company writes us a big check, but it's 100% donations on the telethons. Sometimes get a call from you can tell it's a 90-year-old lady. She said, all I can give you is $10. Is that okay? And the next one will be, all I can give you is $1,000. Is that okay? Yes, ma'am.
When I read of your exploits, the one thing I wanted to ask of you, in Vietnam, were you able to go into the, when I read his exploits, I wanted to know if in Vietnam, if you were able to go into the caves in Ha Long Bay, because that's where so many of the Vietnam soldiers hid during Vietnam.
No, I was in the Navy and I was on the ship. I was only boots on the ground in Vietnam, a handful of times. So I can't answer your question because I don't know. Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Doug Griffin, US Marine Corps of 68 to 71. Well, I live in California part-time, too bad. But anyway, I'm a member of the Honor Flight Group, for the North Bay area. I don't know about yours, but in our Honor Flight Group, all of the guardians who go along pay their own way. So when you make a donation, you're really helping just the vets. And the rest of us who go are just volunteers. We pay our own way. So, but do you ever go to 8th and I, the Marine, where the Marine Commandant lives, and see the parade over there?
He asked about going to the Marine Corps barracks in Washington DC, and we don't, simply because of time frame. Yeah.
You're missing one hell of a one hell of a demonstration. The Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, the band is fantastic, and if you need some connections there, sometimes I go back there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing, the honors, Rocky Mountain Honor Flight, as he mentioned, we have no paid staff. We're all volunteer. We all serve and pay our own way. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, thank you for your service. I was lucky enough to spend a couple weekends ago with an expat who enlisted in the Marines at 19 years old and came home along with his best friend. But my question for you is, how do we nominate or get somebody that we know who I think would benefit from that trip?
Actually, I've got a bunch of business cards here with the Rocky Mountain. It's my own personal business card from being on the board. Go to RockyMountainHonorFlight.org. Rocky Mountain Honor Flight is all one word. There are several buttons there. One to sign up as a veteran, one to sign up as a guardian, one to donate. And the process, if you want to nominate dad or grandpa or whatever, you're probably going to need him or her there to complete all the information. We need a DD 214 and social security numbers and all that, just for the background checks, so that we can make sure that they're clear to fly. And but yeah, Amy's got some cards, and we'll be hanging around. Amy accuses me. She says it takes me 20 minutes to leave a room, and it does.
Okay, we got time for one more question.
I'm just curious. I've been to Baltimore and I've seen this before. Is it Southwest is always donating the flights? Because it always seems like they're coming in on Southwest flights.
We would love to have Southwest donate the flights. And in fact, they just last spring changed their baggage. We take all the medical stuff. We take wheelchairs. We've got 20 wheelchairs plus medical stuff. At least 4 of the guardians are nurses. We've got one doctor that goes on about half the trips, and we've got baggage out the yazoo. And no, they don't donate.
Thank you very much, Danny. Would you be willing to stick around in case anyone has extra?
We'll be here. It takes me 20 minutes to leave the room.
All right, thank you very much.
Let me mention one other thing really quickly, because a couple of the folks before we got started talked about having me make a presentation to the American Legion Post or their Daughters of the American Revolution or whatever. Come and see me, get a card. Let's get it on the schedule. I'm happy to do it, honored to do it.
Okay. And in honor of you speaking today, our club is going to donate 60 doses of the polio vaccine. You're a former Rotarian, so you know what that means.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, my first meeting is complete. We're adjourned.
Only 51 more. Only 51 more.
It's like that. Thank you.